You know what I'm gonna do about it? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tweet my displeasure. That's right. I'm gonna jump on social media and I'm gonna tweet about it until my fingers bleed. I might even send an Instagram or a Vine. That's right. And on that tweet, in that tweet, and however many characters I get, I am gonna threaten. That's right. If I don't get what I want, I'm gonna riot. And if that doesn't work, then by God, me and my friend Mark, we're gonna stop watching. That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 53 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast here on this Wednesday, April 26, 2017. Depending on when you guys are listening to this fine podcast, it could be this weekend, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. Hell, it could be next year. Who knows? But thank you guys so much for supporting the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. I know you guys have so many other things you could be focusing on your Wednesdays or whenever you're listening to this. And the fact that you want to spend some time with yours truly and listen to my ramblings in the world of professional wrestling, I appreciate it. For those that don't know, my name is Joshua Lopez, and I am the student of the game of professional wrestling. I'm a professional broadcaster based out of Chicago, Illinois. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at NotoriousJoshi. We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. I share all the links to our past episodes on the Facebook page. Make sure to give that a like. And more other plugs, just really quick, if you could do me a favor, this is the only thing I'll ask. I will never charge you for money for this podcast or anything like that. All I ever ask for you guys is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes, because that helps me out and helps expand the reach of this particular podcast. So your support means the world to me, and I want to give you the best wrestling podcast that you can't get anywhere else. You know how this show works. It's very different. It's more production-based element. I'm not going to hear and ramble off for 3 hours. I'm not going to do that because I know you guys don't have 5 hours to listen to one wrestling podcast. There's a lot of good wrestling podcasts out there, but I want to make mine stand out a little bit and make it a little bit more unique. And by the way, we cannot have this podcast start without saying, if you're going to be a Nimrod, follow the simple path right here that I'm going to tell you. You know how you have TTYL and LMFAO and LOL and all these other syllables that you have on Twitter or Instagram to like shorten conversations? Try this. When somebody's being a jackass on social media or a Nimrod, just type in YAN. YAN. You know what that means? I know Tim knows what that means. That means you're a Nimrod. There you go. This show is about positive mental attitude, man. I live it. I breathe it. I am a positive person. Take it as it is. We got a lot to get into this week. Talk about Monday Night Raw from the dump known as Kansas City. We got to talk about this Sunday's WWE Payback from San Jose, California. I'm going to make my predictions for that pay-per-view towards the end of this week's podcast as well. I got a special clip for you guys. You guys know the Vince Russo rant I did a couple weeks ago about him slandering wrestling media members and fans calling them gay if they like Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn or whatever. Well, in giving a shout out to one of my favorite wrestling podcasts, Keeping It 100 with Konnan, I'm actually going to play the clip from their show where they're talking about what Vince has been doing. And those that know that the Disco Inferno is a big colleague and a friend of Vince Russo. So It's an interesting clip. I'm going to play that after I'm done with the podcast. So the last thing you'll hear on this podcast this week is that segment from Keeping It 100. I want to give shout out to KG, OG Kevin Gill, Konnan 5150 and at the disco, the real disco, of course, Glenn Gilbert Nettie. Ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for plugs. Just one last thing. Not only am I on this podcast, but I'm also on the Python with McCool & Company on the New Age Insiders Network. And that show comes out on Fridays. You can subscribe to the podcast on the NAI Network. I want to make that perfectly clear. All right, folks. Well, a lot of things are going on. The Bulls are tied 2-2 in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals right now against the Boston Celtics. Game 5's tonight as I'm recording this. I went to the Bulls game. I went to my first NBA playoff game this past Sunday, so that was a lot of fun despite the loss. And also, the NFL draft's tomorrow. So this is a big time for being a Chicago sports fan. The White Sox are starting to hit. The Cubs are doing what they're doing. I'm not a Cubs fan. The Bulls, like I just mentioned, are in the playoffs. And, of course, we got the NFL draft, so we got to see what the future holds for the Chicago Bears. After coming off a very good draft last year, let's see if they can further the improvement of the roster, and hopefully we get some momentum for this city. By the way, I got a recommendation for you guys. If you guys haven't seen the We the Fans series that ESPN's been doing, please go check that out. If you never know what it means to be a Chicago Bears fan or a person that lives in the city of Chicago, please check that out. I think they really hit on the heartstrings of what it means to be in this city and what the city represents as sports fans. I love We the Fans. It's a very entertaining series, and they just did episodes 5 and 6 on the other day, and there's 2 more episodes left. But I'm loving We the Fans. It's a lot of fun. Also, another recommendation. Have you ever been in a position where you're like, I'm trying to do a show. Those that are broadcasters will understand where I'm going with this. Have you ever been in a position where you're on a show, let's say like a live show that has a chat room, right? And then you see, like, you'll have your friends from high school or whatever, like your mutual friends from Facebook. They'll pop in and say hello or whatever. That's perfectly fine. I get that a lot on Universal Chatter. But where I'm getting at with this is that the other day, when I'm doing Raw Universal Chatter with Brother Carter, by the way, the Obsolete Mule, you can follow me on Twitter at Derek Stoughton, at Derrico06 on Twitter. He's going to be on the Python with McCool & Company this Friday. And Derek and I do Universal Chatter for the Rumors of Wrestle, right? So I'm the co-host of Universal Chatter for SmackDown and Raw. And while I was doing the show, my ex decided to pop in while the show's going on. Just one of those really, like, you're stuck in an awkward position when you're doing a live broadcast, and then you see an ex literally pop up in the screen saying, oh, this person, I'm not going to give her name away, but, oh, this person so-and-so is watching your clip. Ah, man. Very, very strange situations, but yeah, it is what it is. I gotta say, though, I want to give a shout out to Brother Carter because I can't thank him enough for giving me this opportunity to be part of Universal Chatter, because I love doing it. It helps me enjoy watching these shows for what it is while I'm trying to figure out what's my next step in my writing career in regards to wrestling. For those that know that I left WrestleZone.com a few weeks ago after a 2-year run, and I'm out of doing play-by-play articles for now. Like I mentioned before, I have no problem doing play-by-play articles for every single wrestling show, but it has to be worth my time, and I have to be compensated for every show that I cover. There's been too many times where I've had to pay pay-per-view. I had to pay money out of my own pocket to cover events that I didn't even get compensated after the fact. So it is what it is, but doing Universal Chatter fills that void for me, because I don't know about you guys, and like I say this a lot when it comes to like watching wrestling. Nobody's forcing you to watch a show live. I think you are entitled to watch wrestling in any type of fashion you want. You can watch it a day in advance. You can watch it in a 2-3 day time period. People are busy. People have jobs. People got to raise kids. They got to pay the bills. They got other stuff they got to focus on. I get it. There's not enough time of the day for a lot of the wrestling content that we have out there. But my point is that I see so many people go on social media and talk about Raw is too long, it's 3 hours, and this and that, oh, I can't spend 5 hours of wrestling. I can't spend 5 hours of time on wrestling. Well, you have yourself to blame for that, and I say this a lot. Nobody's forced you to sit through a 3-hour Raw where 35% of the product of Monday Night Raw is dominated by commercial breaks and video packages. That's on the USA Network. I talked about this on Monday. You know, you could start the show, like, let's say, an hour, 50 minutes into it. Like, you don't have to watch live literally at 7 Central, where I'm here in Chicago. Like, you could watch it like an hour and 50 minutes into the show, fast forward through the commercial breaks, and literally, before the show comes to an end, you're literally live as it's happening. It's really an easy concept, and especially for those that are not going to be able to watch the show that night because they're focusing on Monday Night Football or whatever. You know, you could wait the next day, and then you finish Raw in like an hour and 45 minutes. So, my thing is, and I like to give different options and scenarios to help better your wrestling viewing experience. You can do that, or you can check out Universal Chatter with me and Brother Carter, and we make the viewing experience fun for you guys. We watch the show as it happens. We don't nitpick it. We don't break it down as it's happening, because how can you break something that's not even done yet? Like, I don't break down how a plot or a CGI scene works out in a movie while it's happening. You do that after the fact. And that's what this podcast is for, too. So, like, I wait for Raw and SmackDown to be over, get to contemplate what's happening, watch Talking Smack, and then I give you my opinions. And whether you agree or disagree with me, it's fine. At the end of the day, all this stuff, wrestling stuff, is subjective at the end of the day. To have the mentality because, oh, this person does this for this demographic and blah, 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 and wins and losses and this stuff, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Brock Lesnar is not the Universal Champion. He's playing a character as a story. He's not the actual champion. Eric Rowan didn't lose the tables match. that was predetermined. Like, I'll never come in here and gloat about wrestling being fake as far as with the in-ring action, because that's just a slap in the face of talent. I'm not Vince Russo, but I do find it comical in the reality era that everybody wants reality in wrestling, yet they whine and moan about subjective win and loss records. It's not a sport. It's not a sport. So going back to this with Universal Chatter, check it out, man. Like, give it a shot. It's on Wrestle Rumors Facebook page, and we do it on Mondays and Tuesdays. Brother Carter, I think he'll be doing it this Sunday for Payback, and I have a blast. It's really helps me fill that void of covering the show live. I can't tell you how much fun I had covering those shows live, man. I learned something new with every wrestling show I covered over the years, whether it was with Between the Ropes or WrestleZone. I have a blast covering wrestling shows. I have fun writing out the move sequences and matches. I do. I make no bones about it. I wanted to be a play-by-play commentator for a wrestling company, and that's what I wanted to do for a living. And I had to do it the right way. I had to study the moves. I had to listen keenly to the announcing and not worry about how this character is being booked and this and that. I had no time with it. Like, it's 2-hour show of SmackDown Live. I had to cover what the segments are, what the dialogues are in the promo, the match sequence, make sure the format of the show looks readable, at least for the readers, and then move on to the next match. I don't have that time to critique of how this booking is going to affect future plans in the summer or the fall or next year's WrestleMania. I can't do that while the show's live. I can't do that. Me personally, I don't have the mental capability to do that. If I ever got to that point, I'd be so burnt out and stressed out that I probably would stop watching. But I don't want to stop watching. You know why? Because I'm a wrestling fan, and so are you. You guys are great wrestling fans. There are great wrestling fans that like to enjoy the show for what it is and not because of booking and all this other crap. There's 70 different wrestling podcasts where they only focus on booking. I'm not going to waste your time with that, guys. I'm not. I don't care about booking. At the end of the day, this is my simple criteria, guys, if you really want to know how I feel about wrestling. This is my simple mind thought process in regards to watching wrestling. A, am I being entertained in the match? B, was it worth the time I invested into the show? And C, is this a product that I still want to watch after the show's over? It's that simple. I'm not worried about how's this person being booked, how's this title scene being developed, or any of that BS. I don't care. But that's it for this week's monologue. We're going to take a short break here. Not a break here, but we're going to get into our SmackDown review right now. And I'm going to play a clip of Russo letting his voice be heard on the SmackDown Live Commissioner Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan in regards to his future in the WWE. He cut a very interesting promo last night on SmackDown. I'm going to play that for you. And then after that, we're going to play the segment with Jinder Mahal, the Singh brothers, and Randy Orton. So sit back, enjoy this, and when I come back, we'll talk about SmackDown Live from Des Moines, Iowa last night.
I don't like SmackDown Live General Manager Daniel Bryan. I don't like SmackDown Live Commissioner Shane McMahon, and I do not agree with his father's shakeup. So I told him the only way I will come wrestle for SmackDown Live is when they give me a championship match at Money in the Bank. Otherwise, I'll just pack my bags and go right back home to Bulgaria.
Randy, you're just like all of these people. You disrespect me because I look different. You disrespect me because of your arrogance and your lack of tolerance. But at Backlash, I will take back my respect. I will take the glory of the World WWE Championship back to me and my people, who I will now address in my language. My language of Punjabi. Backlash Day, Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton nu haraega. Mere peri pauge. मैं क्या तुसी सब अमेरिकन लोग महाराजे दे पैरी पौगे एक और गल्ला.
Oh, and Mahal went after the WWE champion, and Orton happy to oblige.
When you're the top of the heap, you are a target for everybody.
We're not going to have to wait till next month at Backlash.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. That's the Bollywood boys from the six-pack challenge last week. These two helped Jinder Mahal win the #1 opportunity, the Singh brothers.
Apparently the relationship here becoming clearer between these three. When you're to the top of the heap like Randy Orton is, you're asking to be a target. Yeah, you better expect it. And now, Randy Orton's lifeless body.
Oh, and the #1 contender planning the champion.
And that's how easily Jinder Mahal could be the new WWE champion. Yeah, John, Jinder shocked the world by becoming #1 contender. Could he do it again by winning the WWE championship?
Is he taking that title with him?
Jinder's leading with the WWE championship now.
Ladies and gentlemen, give Jinder Mahal a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the hashtag you guys need to get on right now. Hashtag give Jinder Mahal a chance. It's a pretty simple concept. You guys sent out give Jinder a chance. You tag me on the tweet at Notorious Joshi, and I'll give you a retweet and a shout out for this podcast. Hashtag give Jinder a chance, and also give the Colognes a chance. How about that? I like that one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back here. Talk a little bit about SmackDown Live last night for Des Moines, Iowa. The SmackDown brand ready to get into full gear into Backlash. Backlash is going to be on Sunday, May 21st from the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. My hometown. I'm going to be there at Backlash and an NXT TakeOver Chicago on Saturday. That's going to be a lot of fun. Backlash, this is the first time Backlash is going to be in Chicago since 2001. So think about this. I actually went to Backlash 2001. So this is 16 years ago. The main event of Backlash 2001 was Stone Cold and Triple H, the two-man power trip versus the Brothers of Destruction. They had that weird tag team match where the IC title, the tag titles, and the world title were on the line. So, yeah, very interesting that Backlash is going to be back here in Chicago. That's going to be a lot of fun. So far, the matches I can tell you that's going to happen, we got Nakamura versus Ziggler, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Speaking of Nakamura and Ziggler, so they started off the show last night on SmackDown Live. And Ziggler tried to make this reference that Nakamura is like Michael Jackson, which makes sense. But I did find it funny that Ziggler is saying that Nakamura is trying to cosplay Michael Jackson. Like he's making a disguise that the whole "This Is It" thing was a work. I thought that was pretty funny, in my opinion. But Nakamura and Ziggler, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, I want to give a shout out to Charlotte and Naomi. They kicked super ass last night in their SmackDown Women's Championship match. They actually closed out the show last night, which I thought was very interesting and very cool for them because they deserved it. Very good match, but it ended with not Naomi, but with Tamina, Carmella, and Natalya coming out and beating down Charlotte, more specifically Charlotte. Like they had this pointed attack to go after Charlotte. So a lot of people are asking, hey, is Charlotte going to go to the good side now? Is she going to become a baby face for you insider lovers out there? If you asked me if I thought Charlotte's going to be a face right now, I guess it could work. You know, some people like ripped Charlotte's original face run when she was still being managed by Ric Flair. I really didn't have a problem with that. I thought her promos were fine for a girl that didn't have that much experience, to be honest with you. I've always liked Charlotte. She's a star. She's sexy. She's hot. She's a badass athlete. She kicks ass. She's she's the best technical wrestler in all the women out there in the world of professional wrestling. She could do just as many corkscrew splashes to the outside as Candice LeRae does. She's a very good technical wrestler. Sometimes she outperforms the people that she's in the ring with. I'm not going to say who, but Charlotte is a top-tier athlete. She's a top-tier star. She's hot as shit. I would bang the you-know-what out of her. But Charlotte's the real deal, and Charlotte's going to help the SmackDown Women's Division go to that next level. So her and Naomi could have a long feud, and I think people will be invested to it, and people enjoy the back-and-forth matches, more importantly, that these two will have. They already had two matches so far that have been good, so this has some makings to be something very interesting now. Do you have a SmackDown title? You have a SmackDown Women's title match at Backlash. Do you have that, or do you have this thing where you have Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky versus this new trio of the women? I don't even think they have this group has a particular name or anything, but it's Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. So the question here is, are we going to have a SmackDown Women's Championship match at Backlash? Or are we going to have a 6-woman tag team match at Backlash? Because I saw somebody put this on Twitter last night that the group of Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella are kind of like the new Shield. If that's the case and they're actually going to go a Shield route with these 3 women, by all means, go ahead, knock your socks off. I have no problem with that. Also on SmackDown, we had a Beat the Clock challenge. Whoever would win the match in the quickest amount of time out of the American Alpha Colognes match or the Ascension Breezango match, whoever won that match in the quickest amount of time would be going to Backlash to take on the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Think about this. I'm a big Keeping It 100 fan, right? I love Konnan's podcast. I can't stand Disco Inferno, so the reason why I love that podcast is because Kevin Gill and Konnan rip on him. Kevin Kleinrock rips on him. Shane Helms rips on him. And then at the end of the show, they spent 20 minutes on a disco list, which I think is pretty funny. And they always throw cheap jazz at disco. But what's the one thing that him and Konnan always talk about on their podcast? Whereas, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Well, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo is actually going to be taking on the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at Backlash, which I think is cool. I think they deserve an opportunity. I think they do. By the way, let's take a swig of Gatorade for the hardworking man out there, by the way. There you go. Yeah, yes. Wonderful, yes. Delightful, yes. All right, really quick. Other stuff on the show on SmackDown that caught my eye. AJ Styles and Baron Corbin had another good match, but AJ Styles won via a roll-up. Kevin Owens immediately attacked AJ after the match was over. By the way, I got to give props to Kevin. He's killing it with this suit game right now. I gotta get one of those. A blue button-down shirt with a black suit. I love it. I like the outfits that he's rocking with right now, since he is the face of America after all. We saw Sami Zayn come down and help AJ. So I would expect next week we probably get Corbin and Owens versus Styles and Zayn, which I think would be a pretty good tag team match, to be honest with you. That would be a lot of fun. You have the possibility of AJ Styles fighting Kevin Owens for the United States Championship at Backlash, which I think would be really cool. You also have the factor of possibly having Corbin versus Zayn at Backlash. Did Sami Zayn ever fight Baron Corbin at TakeOver? I'm trying to remember if Baron Corbin fought Sami Zayn at a TakeOver. If you guys know that, please let me know at Notorious Joshi. Did Baron Corbin ever fight Sami Zayn at an NXT TakeOver? Other stuff on the show, like I said, with the whole Rusev thing, I think is cool. Money in the Bank is going to be for the SmackDown brand in July, I think, sometime. I know Money in the Bank is going to be in St. Louis this year, so I don't think I'm going to go to that show, but Money in the Bank is always a fun pay-per-view, and Rusev's like, either I get a title shot or he's going to go back to Bulgaria. So, hey, anything's up in the air in regards to Rusev, man. By the way, Lana's promos, top-notch. I just got to say that. All you Attitude Era blowhards, I'm sorry, Lana is 10 times sexier than Sable ever was, and that's a shoot. Ladies and gentlemen, so overall, SmackDown, I thought was fine. They're still waiting for Backlash to get over, then they're going to go really full in gear into Backlash building mode. I already can see 6 or 7 matches already made for the card already, and I'm looking forward to Backlash. It's be a lot of fun. I know some people are kind of crapping on SmackDown because they're pushing the guys that the internet fans don't want them to push, but what else is new? It's the time of the year. It doesn't matter if it's the summer, the fall, the winter, or WrestleMania season. Nobody is ever satisfied as a wrestling fan. It is what it is. We're going to play a clip from Monday Night Raw last night from Bray Wyatt in the lead up to his House of Horror match with Randy Orton. Also going to play the backstage segment, the great backstage segment with Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho, which I thought was awesome. We're going to play those clips, and then when I come back, we'll talk about Monday Night Raw, and then I'll give you my predictions for Payback, and then we'll play the clip I teased at the beginning of the show, and then we'll get the hell out of here. All right, so we're going to start off with the Bray Wyatt promo, then to Dean Ambrose, and then we'll have some fun talking about Raw.
Randy Orton, did you think I could just let this all go? That I could just forget? Some wounds never truly heal. They linger. They infect your mind. And the same pain and suffering, Randy, it awaits you in my house of horrors. Every step you take will be a descent into madness. Every room you enter will be an endless nightmare. And the best part is, Randy, you can never leave. The house will be your purgatory. An eternal prison for your mind. An eternal prison for your soul. The deepest, darkest depths of hell, they are waiting for you, Randy. And with your pain, and with your suffering, and with your agony, I will be reborn. The House of Horrors, it waits for you, Randy. Follow the buzzards.
We're moving into the future, you know what I mean? I got you that jacket because I want us to move past everything that's happened between us, you know? If we're gonna go out there tonight and be partners, and really be effective, to have maximum continuity, all right? I'm gonna need something from you. Small.
What?
Dude, I'm gonna need you to take me out for a list. I know I'm on that list. I can't I feel weird about it. I feel weird in my soul being on the list.
First of all, nobody gets taken off the list.
I mean,
Okay? No, hold on.
That's why pencils have erases, bro.
Second of all, this is in pen, okay? Second of all, why would I take you off the list? Okay, you still owe me $15,000 from the light-up jacket that you destroyed.
Okay,
which
this
is
one
true.
is like just as good, dude. I can't even tell the difference between this one and your original one.
Yeah, it's a nice jacket.
It's not bad.
But there's still another thing. There's the Ambrose Asylum match. You powerbombed me into a pile of thumbtacks. Okay, I had to pull 69 tacks out of my flesh. One,
But it was really cool. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Probably.
Okay, but this is a pretty cool jacket, though. I mean, I really do like this jacket. I mean, it's it's very unique, and it's definitely all the rage on the runways of Paris.
I knew it. That's what I said.
You know what, Ambrose? You know what happens when you get Chris Jericho a new light-up jacket from Paris? Huh? You know what happens when you give Chris Jericho a peace offering right before you're his tag team partner on Raw? You know what happens, Ambrose? You just unmade the list.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're a team. Now we're ready to go out there. We're going to destroy The Miz. Whoever his partner is, we're going to destroy him. We're going to be a wrecking machine. Most recent rockers. LOD. Tonight, me and you. Yeah, baby.
I forgot to mention this when we were talking about SmackDown. Really quick, I want to give a shout out to that awesome beatdown Baron Corbin gave to Sami Zayn on Talking Smack last night. I thought that was great. That ass whipping was phenomenal. I have nothing against Sami Zayn as a performer. I like his ring work. He's a tremendous performer. I like his promos and stuff. It's just the only thing I don't like about Sami Zayn is his theme song. It's just that simple. I want to give a Baron Corbin style ass whipping to somebody that plays the Sami Zayn theme song. That's just me. But I want to get that out of the way. Shane McMahon did announce today that due to Baron Corbin, I don't know, unprovokedly, but out of very unprofessionally attacked a referee while he was trying to be separated from Sami Zayn. Baron Corbin has been fined and suspended effective immediately for next week's SmackDown. So Baron Corbin will not be a part of the show next week. So Baron Corbin is suspended. Yes. That dastardly Shane McMahon. Alright, let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw. I thought the show was okay. I didn't think it was great or good or anything like that. There's a couple things in the show that stood out to me. Like, I thought Matt Hardy and Sheamus had a very, 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 very good match. For it being a TV match and to set up a match at a pay-per-view, usually, in wrestling, when you have a tag team feud, usually the partners will trade off positions of who they'll face on the weekly program. So, like, one week, Big Cass will fight Luke Gallows, right? And then the next week, Enzo will fight Carl Anderson. And then the next week, Carl Anderson will fight Big Cass. And then Gallows will fight Enzo. And so we had that scenario here with the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro. They're going to be fighting for the Raw Tag Team titles at Payback this Sunday, Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm looking forward to that match. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of the big things for Raw is, obviously, this was the last show before Payback. And you guys know my opinions on go-home shows. WWE, in the way they structure their business and their product now, since they're slowly focusing on network subscriptions than just regular pay-per-view buys like they were back in the day, the whole thing of, we need to do this because this is the go-home show, is kind of antiquated now. It's kind of changed over the years. Like, the real go-home shows, if you really think about it in the WWE calendar, is the go-home show to the Rumble, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania. Besides that, most of the shows now, it's a advertisement. Like I say it a lot, it's the wrestling telethon version of entertainment for sports entertainment. These go-home shows are to get you into the building, get you to get the subscriptions and stuff, but they're not going to hit you over the head with it. Oh, get this, unless it's SummerSlam. Unless it's Rumble, unless it's WrestleMania. You know what I mean? They're not going to literally go all the way out on a go-home show to Payback. They're not going to do it for Battleground. They're not going to do it for Extreme Rules. I'm pretty sure they're not going to do it for Backlash, even though I love SmackDown just as much as anybody else does. But the point is, the go-home shows and their purpose of it has been... I think it's been rendered obsolete over the past couple years due to the fact that we have the network now. So basically, you look at the card, and if that card is not appeasing to you, you don't have to watch it. like I was mentioning earlier at the beginning of the show, nobody's forcing you to watch these shows. The WWE is openly telling you that you can watch their product whenever you want. I know the society is all about instant gratification, that we should get exciting moments and crash TV and all this other nonsense, but the WWE is openly telling you that their product is open to any type of fan and many different ways to watch it. You don't have to get your wrestling fix only based on what happens on Monday Night Raw. Like, I hated that point of view a couple years ago where people wouldn't give mid-card talents time of day because they only saw the way they were quote-unquote booked on Raw before the split happened. There's good stuff that gets characters over that doesn't have to be solely on Monday nights. Like, look at Talking Smack. Look at programming they have on the network. Look at pay-per-views. Look at the kickoff show, for example, when they have promos and stuff. House shows, interviews, radio interviews. There's so many different factors. The WWE 24 specials. I mean, how many other characters that I've been more invested to just thanks to that? You know, like, when you have Raw Talk or Talk Smack, that's all character development. The structuring of a wrestling show, at least for sports entertainment-wise, has changed than what it was 20 or 25 years ago. It is. This is not professional wrestling. I've said that perfectly, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't. I'm a professional wrestling fan just as much as you guys are. I get my professional wrestling fix by watching AAW. I get my professional wrestling fix by watching Ring of Honor. I get my professional wrestling fix by watching Lucha Underground. WWE is a sports entertainment company, and I knew that since 1998. You know why? Because most of the time when I was watching during the Attitude Era was based on promos in the backstage area, like Chris Jericho peeing on William Regal's tea, or you had PMS with Mark Henry, you had The Hand, you had GTV, you had so many weird segments over the years. Mae Young, of course, like I mentioned with The Hand. Triple H marrying Stephanie out of the blue at a Las Vegas Mary drive-through place. Like, the wrestling was not a point of emphasis to me when I was growing up as a kid. Now, I'm not saying that I don't enjoy wrestling matches, because I do. If I didn't care about in-ring competition, why would I spend over 3 years covering wrestling matches for wrestling websites? You know what I mean? I love the in-ring action. I do. And I think the roster is so talented right now that we take that for granted because they're on every single weekend. Yeah, you get to see the same matches every once in a while. But, hey, you get to see these performers. Enjoy it while it lasts, because you don't know when these performers are going to either retire or suffer an unfortunate injury, or maybe they just get burnt out and they don't want to wrestle anymore. So whenever I'm watching a wrestling show, I'm grateful for what these talents do. You know, like, for example, I remember there was a pay-per-view. Oh, it was Fastlane. So everybody was harping on this go-home show that was supposedly so bad for the go-home show to Fastlane a couple of months ago. And what these guys didn't realize was the fact that most of the talents were just coming off a tour of Germany and still made the hits for Raw before Fastlane. I remember this because the WWE was going to come to Chicago, because obviously we had that Raw after Fastlane. That's where The Undertaker and Roman Reigns started their program. We had the Brock hitting Goldberg with the F5. You remember that show? So, like, go-home shows don't have the same meaning as it does back in the day. The way a wrestling show, at least in the WWE point of view, has changed over the years. It has. Whether you agree with that change or not is subjective. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. So, as far as, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, did I enjoy the time I watched this show? Do I want to watch it continuing forward? Or see, is it something that I'm not going to enjoy and it could go the fuck home and stay the fuck home? That's the three things I look at. And when I get to cover Raw, on Universal Chatter with Brother Carter, I have a good time. Like I said, I didn't think the show was great or good this week. Honestly, it could have been a little bit better. But I'm not going to come on here and tell you, God, this is such fucking garbage, and all they're coasting and they're resting on their laurels and all this other nonsense. I'm not going to do that. Because when you have shows and you have in-between pay-per-views like Payback or Extreme Rules and Battleground, I'm not expecting a SummerSlam push to Payback. I'm not expecting a Royal Rumble push to Extreme Rules, which is going to be the Raw's next pay-per-view. I'm not expecting a WrestleMania push to Hell in a Cell later on this year. You know what I mean? I have my ways of looking at it, and maybe you'll agree or disagree with me. Maybe you want every pay-per-view to feel the same way you feel about WrestleMania or Rumble or et cetera, et cetera. I just choose to not look at that way. I understand that you have to build between the time you want to get to the destination. I am not in a rush to see AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at SummerSlam. I'm not in a rush to see Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. I want to see more character development for Braun Strowman, which he continues to kick ass week in and week out and week out. I take these shows one day at a time, one show at a time, 1 week at a time. I'm not in a rush to get into August. I'm still trying to enjoy my last couple days being a 22-year-old. I mean, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be turning 23. This year's going to be my Michael Jordan year. And I don't know how to feel about that. To feel 23, I got to take things one day at a time because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So if I watch Payback, and it was the last wrestling show I ever watched on Sunday, I want to enjoy it for what it is. Because you never know what can happen. Who knows? Maybe one day USA Network out of the blue says, we're going to cancel WWE. They're not bringing enough ratings. Maybe something happens with the network and it crashes, and maybe MLB Network doesn't want to produce the feed for the network anymore. You don't know what can happen. So when I look at things at wrestling, I'm not looking at it from a booker's point of view because I'm not a booker. I've never been part of the business. So when I watch it, I try to enjoy it for what it is, and I try to learn something, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. I'm learning something to do with every wrestling show I watch. So, okay, Raw this Monday wasn't the greatest show of all time. Mamma mia, we didn't get a SummerSlam build to Payback. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at the matches on my phone right now for Payback, and I'm actually looking forward to this pay-per-view. I think it's going to be really good. I'm going to get predictions in that just a couple of seconds, but just give me 1 second as we're still talking about Raw. Look, I'm getting into the point where Sasha Banks is kind of coming off like Gail Kim. Not as a bad thing as an in-ring performer. Honestly, I have no problem looking at Sasha Banks. She's hot, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like she's getting too many title opportunities, and I don't need to see Sasha Banks in every single segment involving the Raw Women's title scene. I don't. I don't need to see that. So the fact that we have a build between Alexa Bliss and Bayley, which is something new and something I'm looking forward to it. Why does Sasha Banks need to be out there? Why? Alexa Bliss is the number one contender. She won fair and square. Unless this is going to be turned into a three-way, there's no point to Sasha being out there. There really isn't. There's no point for Sasha to be out there. As far as the stuff with Kalisto and Braun Strowman, I thought it was fine. I know some people are upset that Kalisto won and blah, 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 blah. But again, wins and losses don't matter, especially in gimmicky matches. You're not going to remember the fact that Kalisto won the dumpster match. What you're going to remember is Strowman launching Kalisto like a freaking lawn dart off that stage. Straight mollywopped them. So Kalisto looks like he's going to be out of action for a while. Braun Strowman is still kicking ass as he prepares for his match with Roman Reigns at Payback. Speaking of Roman Reigns, Roman had a very heartfelt interview that is on WWE.com. It's a written interview. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's very, very interesting. He had very interesting comments in there. A couple more things before I get to the predictions. Like I said, I thought Raw was okay. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was good. I didn't think it was horrible. I thought it was okay. If I had to give a letter grade, I'd probably give it a B-. You know what I mean? I didn't think the show was great or good or bad or indifferent. I had a good time with Brother Carter. I enjoyed it for what it was. Some things I could have did or without. But you had that with every wrestling show. So at the end of the day, it wasn't a waste of my time. Payback coming up this Sunday. Let's get into some predictions before we head out of here. Payback. This is very interesting for me because obviously you guys know that the majority of Payback pay-per-views have been in Chicago, and this year it's not going to be the case because Payback is going to be in San Jose at the Shark Tank. By the way, it's a good arena. If you like going to arenas that have good air conditioning and it's not super hot and the seats are comfortable, go to the Shark Tank in San Jose. It's a very, very good arena. Especially for the lower level seats. Yes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get the card right here for Payback. We'll make the predictions as it goes. This is going to be the 5th Payback in WWE history. The first one was obviously in Chicago 2013, 2014, and also we had one in 2016 last year. The only other Payback that was in history that was not in Chicago was in Baltimore in 2015. Here's the matches so far for the show. This is the last show before like the full revisionist of the Superstar Shakeup is in full gear. So we do have inter-promotional matches on the show. All right, kickoff show. Enzo Amore and Big Cass against Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I'm going to go with the club in this one because Enzo and Cass are nerds. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho singles match for the United States Championship. If Jericho wins, the title he'll be transferred to SmackDown. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be very sad because I enjoyed this Chris Jericho run a lot. I have. Just like you guys. The whole list stuff and everything he's been doing with Kevin Owens has been phenomenal. This has been one of the best runs Jericho's had in his entire career. And I'm kind of sad that the run's coming to an end. Because he is going to be going out and touring with Fozzy now. And it's sad. It's very sad. But this is going to be the last match we see for Chris Jericho in a while. This one's going to be fun. But at the end of the day, Kevin Owens is still going to be your United States champion. Hardy Boys versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I'm going to go with the Hardy Boys to retain. Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, the House of Horror match. This match is not for the WWE title. I want to make that perfectly clear. I'm going to go with Bray Wyatt to win this one. I think he's going to get the victory in this one. Neville, Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight title. I'm going to go with Austin Aries to become the new Cruiserweight champion. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns in this one. I'm looking forward to that match. Here's the thing, though. What do you close out the show with? Because I have a feeling that Bray and Randy are actually going to close out this show. That's the feeling I'm having. Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. I'm looking forward to this one. This one could steal the show. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins to beat Samoa Joe. That match could also end in a DQ, though, at the same time. Because I do feel Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe are going to feud for a while. Bayley versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm going to go with Bayley to retain over Alexa Bliss. So, that's my predictions for Payback coming up this Sunday, live on the WWE Network. Don't forget, you got Miz TV with special guest Finn Balor, which I think is going to be really, really cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you guys so much for checking out episode 53 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. I really appreciate it, guys. You guys' support means a lot to me. During this transitional period I am in my career right now, the fact that I'm still able to put on this podcast for you and still have fun doing the pipe bomb and the cooling company, etc., 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 I'm having fun. I know something will come up in the future and something big will happen for me in my career, and when that opportunity comes, I'm going to make that opportunity my bitch. So, thank you guys so much for the support. It means the world to me. All I ever ask for you guys is to spread the word about this podcast. If you like what I'm doing, please spread the word about it. Send out a tweet. Send out an Instagram post. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. Leave a review. Leave an honest review and rating. We need to help expand the growth of this podcast. If you'd like to be an advertiser of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast, please send an email to joshlopezwwe94@gmail.com with the subject line advertising. You can follow me on Twitter at NotoriousJoshy. You can follow me on Instagram as well at NotoriousJoshy. Like the Facebook page, Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. You can check me out on Friday, The Pipe Bomb with McCool & Company, at Twitter at The Pipe Bomb NAI. Subscribe to the podcast on the NAI Network on iTunes, and we'll be back with that show on Friday with our special guest, the Obsolete Mule, the Director of Operations, Derek Stoughton. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for enjoying this podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the new intro for the podcast, which I love. And we're going to play this clip for Disco and Konnan absolutely burying Vince Russo. What a better way to finish off a week of a podcasting, right? Thank you guys so much. This is the student of the game of professional wrestling, Josh Lopez. Never stop the grind, no matter what. Love you guys. Talk to y'all next week.
Due to you, which, telling him that his show was boring, he decided to turn heel, which must be awesome.
Yeah, but
so,
he went a little bit overboard with the heel.
Okay, what'd he do?
Man, let's let Kevin, why don't you explain it? I can't believe he hasn't even heard of this yet.
It's Bro, you know where I've been. You know where I've been. I've been on the road.
Deep in Iran.
Yeah, and on the
bordering Turkmenistan.
Right. Exactly. And on the road. Boom.
But basically what happened was it's a whole extended thing, but Vince and his cohort explained that if you cheer for Kevin Owens, if you cheer for Finn Balor.
Time. I'll set the table. So he's doing a new show where he just goes after all of the sheet writers and dirt.
This is besides the other 7 shows he has.
Well,
right.
This
Can't
show
get enough Russo, bro.
He's taking clips of the other podcasts that these guys do and things that they say and getting on like
a talk soup.
Right, perfect example.
Bro, that's it. I actually wanted to do that. I had actually pitched that idea to Jericho.
It's a lot of work, to be honest with you. Yeah. This is enough work.
Right. This show's right. Enough work. Yeah.
This is okay. But basically, Vince said that the type of wrestling fan today falls into 1 of 3 categories because these fans show so much love for these guys and stuff that you're either a homosexual, have homosexual tendencies, or what was the third one, Kevin?
Or you're in the closet.
Something like that. Bro, it was so either he was being there was a complete work, okay, where he's just trying to just go so overboard to that you couldn't possibly take him seriously.
Right.
Or he's back on one of his stupid things where he's like when he didn't understand he was sexist, where he didn't understand that this would be offensive to people.
Okay, so the people that are tweeting him about this, what is he saying in response?
I hasn't really seen any response from this. Jef Lane was trying to argue the fact that since they said there's nothing wrong with homosexuality, that
it's okay to use gay as an insult.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, no. They were actually trying to say that it was not an insult. That they were just
okay. So in other words, just say, but you know what I mean. It's still
you know what I mean too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to somehow try to explain their thought process here, which is which no rational person could really explain.
Here, I could give you a quote on that.
Yes.
In regards to the gay community, Vince Russo adds, "Bro, whatever floats your boat. Who cares? It's not up to me to judge you. I've worked with gay wrestlers. I could care less." That being said, I'm looking at these kind of individuals. I'm looking at reactions to other men. That's what we're talking about here. The way they react to Kevin Owens, the way they react to Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, the reactions to men. I just watched the Giants game. I'm not whacking myself off when Buster Posey goes to the plate. I'm not taking it out and playing with it. I love Buster Posey, but in that sense, he's on my team and I want them to win. I don't chant, "This is awesome," when he's at the plate. It's not normal for a man to react to other men in that way. It's not a normal reaction. So I have come to the conclusion, if you are part of the NXT crowd, the people who are in Orlando, the This Is Awesome crowd, you fall in 3 categories. And then it's what Disco said.
And this
okay,
is how,
just real quick, and because I need to get to a few kazoos in on every show. This is for the New York accent when you were doing Vince Russo. Go ahead.
I will say this, okay, is that he's so dumb sometimes, okay, that he doesn't, that everything that any type of wrestling fan would show homosexual tendencies towards other wrestlers has been would be the same things that have been going on for the past 50 years in professional wrestling. They're guys wearing tights with their shirts off.
Right.
So it's like, so it's not like there has been an evolution of the wrestling fan to where only like the gay.
Let me tell you another thing.
His rant was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed for him. Okay, because I was like, when he's doing this, I'm like, I was thinking, don't you understand that people are just going to blister you for this? You can't, but just throughout the show, he just kept going back to that and everything, to the point that, like, when I go on a show this week, okay, it's almost like has to be an intervention, because I just have no clue. I want to know what the thought process was when he went on these rants.
To me, it's very similar to the black TSA agent chicken soup rant or whatever.
No, not that one as much as this, not understanding why he was sexist. That more so, I think, than the other TSA, the TSA thing.
Bro, and here's the thing: when he's saying that, all these people that they, all these guys that they love wrestlers. Well, when he was a teenager, I'm sure he marked out over a wrestler too.
It's like the same.
You know what I'm saying?
You would say everything you would point to for any type of attraction you would have to a professional wrestler. Right. If you want to look at it that way, hasn't changed since professional wrestling started, where guys went out there in shorts with their shirts off. Period. That's like he's kind of actually like calling himself out when he was doing that, which just sounded like so ridiculous. And I'm like, it's like, dude, bro.
He also adds the idea that if you like certain wrestlers, quote, you must be gay or somewhere beyond exclusively heterosexual on the Kinsey scale. And I think this is a shot directed at Ryan Satin, Disco's homie, that all dirt sheet writers look like losers and they all look like marks.
I will say this, okay, is that the funniest thing about it is that Ryan Satin took the bait and ended up arguing with Jeff Lane on Twitter for like 2 days over this stuff.
Oh, my God.
And I felt like going, bro, just
Jeff Lane couldn't even understand what Satin was saying.
It was such a pathetic argument between both parties, because I was like, dude, don't waste your time, because you're arguing with an imbecile and it's a colossal waste of your time trying to convince him.
It's fascinating.
Did you get the same thing out of that?
Well, to be honest, I took it more as Ryan Satin was clearly right in the case, and he tried to speak same as me. He tried to speak to Jeff Lane like Jeff Lane was a fully formed individual, that really sharp person. And the more he talks, you reveal like, whoa, he doesn't even understand the words that Ryan Satin is tweeting to him, but he's responding. You know what I mean? I thought Satin made a good point. Now, I have a question for Konnan and Disco. What did you think about Ryan Satin tweeting all of the sponsors of Vince Russo's show and Podcast One quotes of what Vince Russo said?
I mean, it's that's why I think Vince is so stupid. Didn't realize that. I have no problem with that, because obviously, if he didn't even realize that was just saying things like that is what costs you sponsors, it's his fault. Which is why I'm wondering. But let me tell you this. I actually messaged Jeff Lane. Bro, Podcast One approved that show.
Correct.
And I'm like, wow, that's
dude, they're going to end up costing themselves a lot more by.
Well, they probably don't. They probably didn't even listen to it.
Maybe, that's what I'm thinking. Whoever that approved it probably did not listen to it.
Right.
That's what I was thinking, because it was just like, and he, I mean, if he was completely serious about this. It's way out of line.
But can you imagine But can you imagine what type of job that must be? Because there's got to be over 200 shows on Podcast One, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Disco. There's
and listen to every single one.
No, there's absolutely
no way. Somebody tells you to listen to it, like you sent it for approval first. That's what
do you mean?
They sent it to it for approval first.
Oh, that specific episode?
Oh, yes. He's done a couple episodes like that. He's done a couple of like the one.
That's even worse, to be honest. That makes more people look bad.
That's what I'm saying. Unless they didn't actually see it, you know. I mean, of all the things Vince could do, it was out of line. It was, of course, it was, but it was, you know. But a lot of people, you know, of course, a lot of people thought it was hysterical. And right. I'm like, you know, but it was, you know, I'm like, I'm smart enough not to, you know, not to endorse it. You know. So
what's your take on it, Konnan?
Bro, I'm just hearing about it for the first time right now.
Right, so I'm saying now that you've heard the whole story.
Well, he's got to listen to it. That's the thing categorically he could point out.
Right, right.
You know, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's again, why does Vince make statements like that? Is he trying to be controversial? Then if he did it the first time, he saw all the heat that he got. Were even me and him for the first time in our lives, you know, had some heat. You know what I'm saying? You got to start thinking about what you're saying, because I could be real controversial and probably be off the air very soon. You know, so at the end of the day, you got to be responsible for what you say and what you do, ourselves included. You know what I'm saying?